This year the women's field at Western States hasn't quite been getting as much attention as the men's race, mainly due to the star power in that field and the lack of big names like Courtney or Katie Scheid or even a Ruth Croft in this one. But in my opinion, the lack of a clear standout is what makes this race so much more interesting than the last few editions, as both 2023 and 24, the race win was basically wrapped up within the first 20 miles, and whilst watching a course record go down is exciting, I'd much rather watch a close race with plenty of position changes, and I think that's what we'll get this year. If you missed my men's field preview, go give that a watch, remember to subscribe, and let me know your picks in the comments below. Let's jump into it. It's been great to see in the build up to this one that Fujia Jang is getting the recognition she deserves for her incredible 2024 performance, as in the immediate aftermath and the hype around Katie Scheid's performance, it seemingly went a bit under the radar that Fujia just ran the third fastest time in the race's history. With that performance, it's also worth noting that she became the fastest ever debutant on the women's side, and both women ahead of her on that all-time list needed a couple of tries to get the best out of themselves on this course. So coming in this year, with the additional experience under her belt, Fujia is definitely one of the favourites, and I'll once again be sticking by my January predictions video and say that Fujia will win this year, becoming the first Asian winner of this race in the process. I am really interested to see how she runs this one though, as last year she was solo in second place for a large proportion of the day, but I think the chances of the leaders sticking within sight of each other is much higher this time around, and how she plays it tactically will be fascinating. Not since Jim Walmsley in 2016 has somebody won 2 golden ticket races in 1 year, but after securing their ticket at the Javelina 100, Riley Brady jumped back into not just any golden ticket race, the most competitive 100k race in the US at Black Canyon, and didn't just win, they absolutely dominated, knocking nearly half an hour off the previous course record. So it's safe to say Riley is coming in with a lot of hype and is firmly amongst the favourites for the win. Riley also boasts experience on the course, although they've said in interviews that they were disappointed with 14th place in 2023, but knowing the course is definitely an advantage, especially over the next couple of contenders I'll be talking about. Again, I'm super interested in Riley's race tactics. They surely have the confidence to take this race out hard and lead if they need to, but they did allow Mary Denholm to charge off at the front at Black Canyon without panicking or trying to match the move. So if we see someone like Fujia go off hard, surely hoping for a sub 16 hour finish, how do they react and does Riley go with? I'm excited to find out. Tara Dawa might be the most versatile runner in the sport, setting the overall record on the Appalachian Trail last year in a time of 40 days 18 hours, and then jumping into Black Canyon 100k back in February and taking home a golden ticket in amongst a very competitive field, in which she also ran the second fastest time in the race's history. And then, just a couple of months ago, winning the Lake Sonoma 50 miler. Tara talks with a lot of confidence, and to me she seems like she's here to take this one out fast and make it hard for everyone else early on. And while someone like Riley, who has excelled on flatter and less technical courses, may struggle in the high country through the first 50k, I think Tara, with plenty of hours spent on technical terrain on various long FKTs and races like Hard Rock, will use those early miles to break away. In my picks, which I'll get to at the end of this video, I have her fading back slightly and missing out on the win, but she's talented enough to pull this off, and I could equally see her winning this thing. If you've watched my preview videos before, you know I always get a bit carried away back in the Brits. It didn't work out with Jack Scott at Cocodona or Elsie Davis last year at States, but my British bias has not waned, and I'm back in Pascal to have a breakout performance here on the world stage. She's been dominant here in the UK over the last couple of years and already has a couple of big results in Europe, including winning the Ultra Trail Chianti earlier this year, finishing just outside the overall top 10 and beating the likes of Abby Hall in the process. She's also the sister of Western States 2021 champion Beth Pascal, so although she's not raced this course before, Beth is a good person to have in your corner, and I'm sure she will have given Fee plenty of good advice going into this one. But as with all Brits at this race, the heat is my biggest concern for Fee. John Albon and Elsie Davis were both absolutely fried last year, and this year is looking like it'll be a few degrees hotter. But if Fee can manage that, then she's a contender for the win, and I'm backing her to have a breakout international performance. It's year 3 of the Heather Jackson project, and having already booked onto Cocodona next year, you have to imagine this is her last shot for a little while. Last year, the former professional triathlete ran a solid, sensible race and finished 7th in a historically fast women's top 10. She definitely wants more though. Heather is an aggressive racer, and we've seen her take control early of races like Javelina and Black Canyon, with mixed results. And in her first 2 attempts here, the technical running in the high country has held Heather back from pushing at the front early on. She's been developing her trail skills year on year since her switch from triathlon though, and we saw her take 5th at CCC last year. Not a super technical course, but certainly more so than States, so I think we'll see a more aggressive approach from early on this year. If not leading by Robinson Flat, I'd expect her to be within touching distance of the front pack, and I think the experience on this course will show in the latter stages, and she'll come away with her best finish yet. So those are the big 5 athletes I think you should be watching this year, and it doesn't normally work out this way in these videos, but all 5 that I've just talked about will make my top 5 picks. I'll go over the order shortly. But there are plenty of contenders in this field, so I'll quickly run through a few more. Multi-time top 10 finishers Esther Schillag and Emily Horgood shouldn't be underestimated, and I think they'll have great races. I've covered both in last year's preview, and I wanted to mix it up a bit this year, which is the main reason I haven't talked about them at length, but I do think they'll both have good races, be near the front all day, and once again finish in the top 10. Marianne Hogan has finished on the podium here before, but in a time that would have only been good enough for 12th last year. She's also a multi-time UTMB podium finisher and has a long list of wins on her resume. Definitely another one to watch closely on Saturday. And then you've got Abby Hall, Caitlin Fielder, Keely Henninger, Shea Aquilano, Hannah Allgood, Erin Clark, and Nancy Zhang, to name a few to look out for. Jumping into my top 10 picks, as I said before, I'm picking Fujia for the win. I do think Tara, Riley, and possibly Heather Jackson will take it out hard, with Riley and Tara fading back to 4th and 5th in the latter stages, with Heather holding on for a podium spot. Then Pascal running a smart race and moving through the field to finish 2nd. And then I'm going Emily Horgood, Caitlin Fielder, Marianne Hogan, Esther Schillag and Shea Aquilano to fill out the back half of my top 10. So that's it for my Western States previews. Check out my men's field preview if you haven't already, and let me know your picks or who you're rooting for in the comments below. Remember to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back soon with more ultra running content. Cheers.